have you with us on this Monday edition, Ed Schultz News and Commentary. I have never seen a network so in the tank for a candidate the way CNN is for Hillary Clinton. Now, just moments ago before I recorded this, Bernie Sanders held a press conference in California on the eve of what is going to be a big day for him. 6 states are going to vote tomorrow. The big prize is California, 475 pledged delegates. Over the weekend, lead up to this press conference, this is what Bernie Sanders had to say about the numbers and the count and what it means.
For Secretary Clinton to get to the magic number of 2,383, she would have to win 2/3 of those pledged delegates.
Ain't gonna happen.
Frankly, unless I am very, very mistaken, that is absolutely not going to happen. In other words, at the end of the nominating process, no candidate will have enough pledged delegates to call the campaign a victory. They will be dependent upon super delegates. In other words, the Democratic National Convention will be a contested convention.
Now, watching CNN this afternoon after Bernie Sanders' comments, you would think that he's winding down, that he's slowly turning this thing over to Clinton, that there's no way he's going to get it. The man said over the weekend there's going to be a contested convention. If you are a Sanders supporter, there is no reason to pay any attention to the mainstream media, which has been trying to drive Bernie Sanders out of this political change effort for months on end. Who would have thought a year ago in Burlington, Vermont, over a year ago, that we would be talking on June 6th, the day before California, that, well, we really don't know who's going to win California, and we don't know who's going to have enough pledged delegates. It's the establishment, the super delegates that are going to put Hillary Clinton over the top. The strategy for Sanders has not changed a bit. They've known all along that there's been this big buildup of 3 million votes, a lot of it coming from the South, where we all know Bernie Sanders was weak. When he got out of the South, things have changed. That's why he's won 21 states. He's got a shot in North Dakota, in Montana, in South Dakota, and in California, the latest numbers are 49-47 Clinton. How many times has Bernie Sanders gone into situations like that where we have seen him outperform the poll numbers? We don't know. Here is Sanders this afternoon, just a few moments ago.
It is just too late for establishment politics and establishment economics. We need real change in this country, not superficial change, but real change, which will end the trend in our country of moving toward an oligarchic form of society in which a handful of extraordinarily wealthy people control both the political and economic life of our nation.
So, does that sound like a guy who's ready to quit? Well, there's all kinds of pressure. Every pundit you can find out there on CNN, and I watch CNN, I cannot believe how many people are just doing the math and not doing the people. The fact is that these superdelegates could change. And political change is about never giving up and going to the convention and making it a contested convention and almost forcing Bernie Sanders out of it. So now what do the Clinton people do? Well, they're out saying that, well, the president really wants to get involved. That doesn't excite me at all. I don't care who President Obama endorses. It doesn't affect me, my vote, or my feeling on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or throwing some Bush people in jail for what they did on Wall Street. Look, if you want to give up, give up. This is no time to give up. If Bernie Sanders wins California, it is going to put the Democratic Party right where they need to be, in a fight for the heart and soul of who we are, what liberalism and progressive agendas are all about in this country, and it will form exactly what we need to take on Donald Trump. Not some corporate hold on super delegates and this political fear-mongering that's going on. Well, if we don't support the Clintons, they got this list, and, it might not be very good for me politically for the next 3 or 4 years. They could really make life tough for you. It's not about the Clintons. It's about the country, and it's about the issues. And this is why Bernie Sanders has not quit. And in the 11th hour before California, the man hasn't changed a bit. Although if you watch CNN, they're just praying for the guy to quit. Here he is on the State of the Union, getting right to the heart of the issue of why Hillary Clinton is vulnerable as a candidate up against Donald Trump.
If you ask me about the Clinton Foundation, do I have a problem when a sitting Secretary of State and a foundation run by her husband collects many millions of dollars from foreign governments, governments which are dictatorships? You don't have a lot of civil liberties or democratic rights in Saudi Arabia. You don't have a lot of respect there for opposition points of view, for gay rights, for women's rights. Yeah, do I have a problem with that? Yeah, I do.
Does that sound like a guy who's ready to quit? Does that sound like a guy who is afraid of any kind of political machine, the establishment? Hell no. And it ought to energize every Sanders supporter in California to make this thing happen. When we come back, Mitch Caesar, Florida, Democratic Party, former chair, joins us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary.
Hey folks, you've heard me talk about BioGreen Clean. I'm going to show you right now on my airplane just how tough this is. I want you to keep in mind, chemical-free, 100% plant-derived, biodegradable. It is the safest cleaner that you can get, and it's the most effective. Go to our website, wegoted.com, or go to biogreenclean.com. www.biogreenclean and order today.
It's time to continue our conversation about mechanical insulation. Mechanical insulation is for the piping systems in our nation's commercial and industrial facilities. Facility owners are burning up billions of dollars through the lack of mechanical insulation on these piping systems. Call the iSave team. Insulation saves America valuable energy, and this team of energy conservation specialists is shovel-ready to save you money. Visit iSaveTeam.org to have a specialist give your plant an energy audit.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry taking care of the American labor. They probably have already engaged into some type of criminal cover-up, and the law prohibits the government from even doing anything about it.
Catch America's lawyer Mike Papantonio on YouTube at youtube.com/GoLeftTV.
Thanks for the listen. Thanks for the download. WeGotEd.com, RawStory.com, RingofFireRadio.com. RT News tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern from Washington, D.C. on Dish and Direct and RT.com. I'm Ed Schultz. This is Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Mitch Ceasar, former Florida Democratic Party chair, joins us and member of the DNC Executive Council. Mitch, good to have you with us.
Good to have you and be with you, Ed.
All right, buddy. The big wins tomorrow have got to happen for Bernie Sanders. His strategy is what it is. Win big tomorrow. Eke one out in California. Turn to the superdelegates and say you got to look at the momentum. You got to look at the national polls. You got to look at our movement and get them to shift. It's a tall mountain. There's no doubt about it. But is there any reason for him to step out right now? I watched CNN, just gave a commentary on this. I mean, they all say that he's toning it down, that he's setting the stage now to come together and the president's going to come out and endorse Hillary. I mean, I'm sickened by all of this. He says over the weekend it's going to be a contested convention. I want you to draw on your experience and take some time and piecemeal this whole thing together as to where this is right now from a realistic standpoint and from a standpoint of vision and goals.
Well, I've been to 4 conventions before. This will be my 5th. I guess it comes down to how you define contested convention. By tomorrow night, at whatever time, Eastern Standard Time, probably when New Jersey comes in, which is the second biggest state, which she's ahead by double digits in New Jersey, she will have already passed the votes. I guess before you reach California during the night, there are a bunch of others. Some she'll win, some she may lose, with, of course, California being the biggest prize. But she will have passed it before California even closes down their voting. So I really don't see how it's be a contested convention on the issue of, as pundits like to point out, the fact that she's already reached the magic number and received more popular votes and all the other criteria without the super delegates even being considered. She's surpassed him on every measure. I think if he stays in it longer and talks about issues, which in effect is his movement that he represents, obviously, and very well, I think that brings down the temperature to a fair extent, if he's not frankly attacking the presumptive nominee. If he continues to do that, that makes this much more difficult. And having watched on TV as a kid Chicago in '68, I don't think anybody in the Democratic Party wants a replay of that. And Senator Sanders, to his credit, has said many, many times he's going to do everything he can to stop Donald Trump. So I think if he talks about issues, I think he could go beyond Tuesday.
Bernie Sanders says that she will not have reached the required amount of pledged delegates to secure the nomination after Tuesday. That it's going to take the superdelegates to put her over the top. That's why he would stay alive and keep this going all the way to the convention and would bring it to a contested convention, meaning telling superdelegates, look what's going on. Here's the other thing that the Sanders campaign is whispering, and I want your take on this, Mitch. The Southern performance of Hillary Clinton is the difference in all of this. South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, states that the Democrats aren't going to win anyway. She has padded this 3 million vote in those states. But the states that the Democrats have got to win in, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, California, Bernie's won. And now New Mexico coming up. He lost Iowa by the flip of a coin. He lost Nevada by less than 700 votes. I mean, if I'm a superdelegate and I'm living in Minnesota and Minnesota goes with Bernie Sanders, wouldn't I have to explain to my constituents why I'm going to go with Hillary Clinton? That's what he talks about on a contested convention. Your thoughts on that?
Well, some others have pointed out that if you took the superdelegates out of the equation, in other words, erased them, they don't exist, then it would just be based on the votes cast, which would be the fact that she has reached a number, whatever the number may be. But if you take them out, the magic number goes lower, and she simply has more delegates than he does. And some people on cable have said the fact that if you did that exercise, because we could do all kinds of exercises,
sure,
bending back and forward, she has 3 million more votes, and specifically, she has more delegates than he does. So it's whoever has more delegates, with or without the super delegates. You could also theoretically, I don't know if I subscribe to this theory, but some may say that if you look at those southern states, what it indicates is she has very, very deep minority support, specifically African American. Yes, it's in those southern states, but it is a pretty strong national trend for her and not for him, at least in his primary season. Therefore, those will be the ones that maybe help her win swing states. So, it's the old story. It reminds me a little bit, not Senator Sanders, but some of the discussions from some folks, almost like Donald Trump saying, well, what if we did this or changed the rules, or what if we did that? Frankly, I think he's done a great job. I think he's energized the party. I'm not just saying that. I really think he has. Mm-hmm. He's injected a lot of excitement. The question he has to ask in his head and his heart is, if he wants to be the leader of a movement, at what point does he cease to be a candidate but the leader of a movement?
So North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, New Mexico, they don't matter. That this is all, and that's really what is coming out of the Clinton camp right now, is that they've got it locked up. Bernie's got to wind it down. He isn't going to win this thing. The superdelegates aren't going to change. The very system that he's vilifying and complaining about is the very system he needs to get the nomination, which is a long shot. What do you make of the president on the verge of jumping into this thing? He's been on the sidelines all along, although he has said some very complimentary things about Hillary Clinton. There's no doubt where his loyalty is. Your thoughts?
I'm not convinced that the president's going to jump as fast as the pundits think he's going to. If I was the president, what I would do is realize that Bernie's going to want to do things that are comfortable to Bernie. I would also, if I was the president, have conversations with him to find out, what his comfort level is. I just don't see the president, tomorrow night at whatever hour, first thing the next day, so you get a different news cycle, endorsing, in this case, Hillary. I can't imagine they're not using back channels already, both the White House, if not the Clinton campaign, but certainly the White House, to talk to Bernie. He's a very, very smart guy. He knows what he's dealing with, and I think he views this more than an election. I think he uses this in his head as a watershed situation, much like 68 was when they reformed the party. I think that's going to be critical. Maybe he means it's going to be a contested convention because of changes in the platform or party rules. We don't know if it necessarily means it's contested in the context of him.
Mm-hmm. Always good to visit, Mitch Caesar. Great resource, great friend. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ed.
You bet. Mitch Caesar with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team bring you this production. We're back tomorrow.